Kabul confront minefields that crisscross neighbourhoods. UNOCHA, or the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance to Afghanistan, has the biggest demining programme in the world, consisting of mine awareness, training, mapping surveys and mine clearance. Non-governmental agencies, NGOs, are the key to success, says Programme Manager Ian Mansfield.
These NGOs are nearly all Afghan staffed and they have activities in 3 countries, Afghanistan, Iran and Pakistan. And in these 8 NGOs, we employ almost 3,000 Afghan men. So we're a big source of employment in war-torn Afghanistan. We provide a salary which is good by local standards, and we never have any shortage of people wanting to come and work for us in our program.
This heavily mined area is on the campus of the University of Kabul. It's just metres away from a busy street. Both mine surveys and demining are being accelerated. Red-painted rocks indicate mines. Tarsin Dispadak, demining manager for Kabul, points out danger areas.
As you can see, red circled area shows potentially mine area and most probably unexplored ordnance area.
Every morning a survey team collects field information. Reference or benchmark points are marked and recorded. In the afternoon, maps are prepared. It's vital to precisely chart minefields to guide the deminer's task. The most efficient method of clearing mines is the manual technique. A 2-man team called a breaching party works in 2-metre lanes, keeping at least 10 metres apart from each other. First, the detector man checks the area. If there is a reading, he marks the exact place. The prodder man moves forward and the detector man moves back. The work requires the utmost concentration. The teams work 6 hours a day. The prodder lays down and starts removing the earth at the identified point. The reading might have been caused by metal parts, unexploded ordnance, or a mine. When the mine is located, it's destroyed in situ. In this area, 2 mines are found next to each other. Deminers prepare to explode the mines while a man gives a warning signal. A medical evacuation team stands by at all times. It consists of a doctor, medics and an ambulance. A nurse is on duty to administer first aid. But work-related injuries are something that these men have taken in their stride. Mohammed Marbi has suffered a leg injury.
I'm not afraid of the work, even if I've been injured. If I'm scared, I would not have chosen to clear mines.
At the end of the working day, deminers get ready to return to their accommodation. They live in tented camps, which are totally mobile. The deminers can be deployed quickly, anytime and anywhere they're needed. There's time for recreation, and UNOCHA also provides English and literacy classes. Some write home. The deminers are away from their families 2 months at a time. The program is almost entirely run by Afghans themselves. With $20 million every year, UNOCHA hopes to clear 118 square kilometres of priority areas within 4 years. Clearing mines is more than a matter of saving life and limb. It's an essential part of reconstructing a country. More than 5 years ago, the Gulf War ended with the liberation of Kuwait. With the obvious scars of war erased, today the country enjoys as normal a life as it had before the invasion. But some parts of the battle zone, including the 210 kilometres long and 15 kilometres wide demilitarised zone, the DMZ, established along the Iraq-Kuwait border by the United Nations Security Council, is still littered with mines and unexploded war ordnance. Clearing this deadly menace has been a top priority for UNICOM, the United Nations Iraq-Kuwait Observation Mission. Established in 1991, it monitors the DMZ and Khor Abdullah waterway between Iraq and Kuwait. The mines and other ordnance represent a mortal threat to the local population as well as to UNICOM's military observers. Eliminating these silent killers is the responsibility of the engineers unit attached to Unicom, currently from Argentina and known as Arging. The group's been serving here since 1993. Locating the different types, sizes and shapes of the unexploded ordnance is potentially hazardous, says Major Emilio Rodriguez, commander of the unit.
The disposal of unknown explosive is the most important and the most dangerous for us.
When Arging receives a report that ordnance has been sighted in the DMZ, it immediately dispatches a group of engineers to the location. The first thing they do is cordon off the area and start hunting for the hidden killers. On this day, more than 15 different devices were located. Many were hidden in the sand. Their condition is difficult to determine during the hot summer months. Preparing the unexploded ordnance for detonation is a nerve-wracking job. The engineers have to be extremely careful while wiring the devices and placing high explosive materials on the bomblets. After completing the final touches to make sure that everything is in order, the bomblets are finally ready for detonation. Safety procedures are strictly observed. More than 100 meters away and safely behind sandbags, the engineers are ready for the blast. Since the establishment of the UN force here in 1991, engineers have succeeded in clearing large sections of its area of operations of these deadly killers without suffering any casualties. But the area is not yet completely safe.
We destroyed approximately 200 bomblets, but I don't know if how much are there yet in the zone.
Mines continue to cause scores of injuries to local civilians, some fatal. Unicom's efforts are therefore an essential operational requirement. They're in line with international efforts to rid humanity of landmines, no matter where they are.
A Bosnian family mourns the death of a child killed by a landmine. Today, 20% of mine accident victims in Bosnia are children. Most of them are boys. Many war survivors and returning refugees make their homes in ravaged shells of apartments, which are often booby-trapped. They literally live in minefields, planting crops in areas with live ammunition and unexploded mines. With nowhere else to go, it's a gamble in their struggle to survive. 15-year-old Tiomir Ostojic is a victim of this horror. He stepped on a mine and was thrown by the blast onto another.
We'd been swimming and went towards the cherry trees over there when I was wounded. I lost both my hands, 2 toes of my right foot, broke my left leg. We wanted to pick cherries. We didn't know there were mines.
In Sarajevo, the United Nations Mine Action Center tackles the devastating remnants of conflict. The history of the Bosnian War can be charted by maps of minefields. As the battle lines moved, new mines were planted. UN estimates put the number of mines in the country at 2 to 3 million. Clearing them is the only way to stop the continuing carnage. But it takes 200 deminers a year to clear just 10 square kilometers. It's a critical situation. Mine accidents are increasing. Last year, there were about 50 accidents a month. Now UN officials say they're up to 90. Tragically, the resources needed for mine clearance aren't coming in at the same rate. George Foxaneanu, the program manager of the UN Mine Action Center, attributes this to confusion between politics and humanitarian requirements.
Humanitarian mine clearance needs to be separated from the politics, because humanitarian mine clearance is probably one of the easily started success story in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we need to focus on it, and we need to put the necessary funds to do it in with large capacity to be able to address the problem quickly.
Mine awareness instructor Dragan Drokic roams former battlegrounds, teaching communities to live as safely as possible in the midst of mines. It's part of an international effort to reduce the number of mine accidents. Having been injured himself, Dragan speaks from experience. So people listen carefully as he explains the danger.
I think it will take time for people to behave differently. But what we must understand is that day after day there are mine accidents, and we must do something to stop